Hi, and thank you for joining. I am Shauna K. Lister, founder of Memorable Essay College and graduate admissions consulting. Today I'm talking with Lindsay. She'll tell you her name and what she's about. Lindsay is at the tail end of her high school career, and she's here to share her wisdom and her expertise with those of you who are thinking of going to college in the US as an international student. I believe, and I'm very proud of her, that she has done very well for herself. So we're going to hear everything that she has to say insofar as how you can, have results that are similar to her, and of course her experience with memorable essays. So hi, Lindsay.
Hi, Shauna. So as you mentioned, my name is Lindsay Harley, and I'm in grade 13 at St. Andrew High School for Girls.
Okay. And in which country is St. Andrew High School for Girls?
Oh, from Jamaica. I'm from
Yeah.
Jamaica, guys. Okay. So very basic stuff. My favorite color is black. I don't know if that's a color, but whatever. I like math and physics. So I actually went to the engineering when I go to college. I play table tennis. I modeled a bit too. Yeah, I think that's it.
And so, what would you say are the top 4 important things that individuals who are applying to college as an international student should know or should keep in mind?
Okay, the first major tip I think is to stop writing surface level. I feel like in the Caribbean especially, they try to like teach us a very scientific method way to writing, and it makes or like work sound very cliche, boring and ordinary. So I don't want to say forget the rules that you were taught, but forget the rules you were taught, dig deep and get creative. So that's like the first one. The second one is definitely show and not tell. So always provide whatever you're writing about. Make sure you have supporting examples or evidence to show that what you're saying is actually true. The next thing is to definitely plan ahead. The whole college applications process is very stressful, especially I did SAT prep. I did everything in my last year of high school. So I didn't do my SATs before. I did everything at once. And so it does get time consuming, and you definitely have to be prepared to make sacrifices and mentally prepare yourself for a very stressful period because it's very intense and everything happens quickly. So you need to plan. And the last thing is in the whole line of planning ahead is to be organized. So what helped me personally is I had a book with literally everything college wise. So I even wrote notes from Shauna's and I consultations in there. Um, the book kind of serves as a planner. What also helps some people is setting up an entire email account separately for the college applications process because you're going to get a lot of emails from schools. So anything that you can do to be organized, definitely do that because it does get hectic.
What was it actually that you thought of as this is the reason I want to go to college? What was pulling you to basically put yourself through this hectic process because you're doing it in 1 year? It's not like it was something that you've been pacing over time, but it's something that you knew you wanted so much that you did all of this work in 1 year. What was pushing you to do that?
Well, honestly, the plan always wasn't to go abroad, I feel. I was gonna go to UAE or UTech. But I guess you can say I saw people studying abroad and I saw how exposed they were. How I think they just wrote better and spoke better. And it kind of helped to realize that, well, in my opinion at least, I think, well, at least in the Caribbean, the education system, it probably doesn't allow for all of that growth and development. And so I wanted something better for myself, I guess, and I wanted to be exposed outside of Jamaica, so that hopefully like one day I can come back and give back having been improved, right? And that happened going into grade 13. So it was like a quick mental shift, like, okay, I need to study abroad. So I never had a choice but to cram everything into the last year. But I feel like I work better that way anyways, naturally. Like I work better just doing a high intense stress period versus like staggering things anyways. So it works out.
Thank you for those tips and for sharing what was pushing you to study abroad. And so I definitely met you at the beginning, I think, of when those thoughts were starting. And I haven't told Lindsay, but actually the year I met you, I went to, I think, 4 or 5 different high schools and spoke. And out of every school and person who I spoke with, you were definitely the person who I remembered the most. And the person who, no, it's true, and the person who actually followed through with that like mini assignment that we have. And that was actually very shocking to me because I had, done the same process, made the same offer. And so it was pretty obvious early that Lindsay was very serious about what she was doing.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you're welcome. And I mean, it's true.
Thanks.
Oh, it was the essay. It was the first essay. I don't think you remember it.
No, I remember. And you're just like, I'll help you guys edit what did you say? If we wrote an essay, you'd help us edit it for free.
Right. Just to kind of see and test. But anyway, that was just amazing. So I think that's kind of a testament to Lindsay because we're talking about at least 250 people. And so you were the one to follow through, which is pretty cool. So could you tell me a little bit about what your experience working together was like? How was your memorable essay experience in this process?
Wow. So I was trying to think of a word to kind of just summarize everything, but I couldn't think of a word that did my experience with you justice. I mean, it was wow, but I feel like in this whole process, you kind of helped me discover myself. Our conversations were always very honest, and you asked like very self-searching questions because the colleges are trying to get to know you through the applications process, so you have to be honest with them as well. And I like how our experience, everything that you did was pretty strategic, but it was strategic in a sense that it was still creative. Like it wasn't just lines that were sticking in a box, but everything you did had some method to the madness, which really helped and made it easier to make the corrections when you gave me edits and stuff. And then you're extremely thorough. Extremely thorough. So you wouldn't just correct my work, but you'd give me the reason as to why, so that I wouldn't make that mistake in the future. So I feel like overall, like I know who I am more now through this process, and I'm also a way better writer, I feel. So I definitely recommend it to like every single body where like essays and writing is concerned, because I say it all the time, but you're so good at what you do. It's crazy.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. So we're going to talk about where you're going, but what do you want to study and how did you make the decision? Because I remember there was what kind of school do I go to get this done? How did you decide where to go, where to apply to even?
Okay. Well, I want to do engineering, so I needed definitely a school with a strong science program or math program. And then I'm not that kind of person who's just gonna like stay in the library, study my books, do a test, study my books. No, that's not me. I think I like to do a lot of things. As I mentioned, I model, so I'm very into like film production. I like to go out. I like to go to restaurants. I'm just not you stay in the library kind of girl. So I needed to apply to a school that would allow me to like live a life outside of the classroom. That was super important to me, but also a school that had a very strong academic program, because I want to do something I want to do a rigorous course. So that was important to me, like finding that balance of schools.
Okay. Between being out of the library and academic work.
Yeah.
It's funny because you always say, I don't want to live in the library. Okay.
No, I don't. I know people who do, and that is not me.
Okay. All right. Got it. All right. So could you tell us a little bit about where you got into and where you're kind of feeling right now might be the fit?
Okay. So I got into FIU, USF, Bowdoin, Wesleyan, NYU Abu Dhabi, and Dartmouth College. And right now I'm kind of deciding between Wesleyan and Dartmouth. I don't know. right now which one. I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. I'm visiting Dartmouth later this week, so hopefully I'll be able to better decide then. But yeah, that's like my two options right now that I'm weighing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so that's really interesting because I remember our very first conversations were around like 4-2 or straight bachelors of engineering. So I didn't know. I had some idea that Lindsay liked Wesleyan, but I didn't realize you were seriously considering Wesleyan. So what is it? Like, what are the things that are at play?
Okay. So as I mentioned before, I love mix-up and excitement.
Okay.
And Wesleyan being a liberal arts school, there are just so many interesting courses. Because we even got to like the sample classes. There were like classes in like Arabic, and then one in modern dance, and then one in folk dance, and Wesleyan, the community there. I had mentioned this to you as well. The Jamaican community there, they're very tight. They're very together. Yes. They party together. They do everything together. So I just felt like when I was at Wesleyan, I felt like I was at home, just much colder. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. I felt like I was at home because I was with people who I even knew. I even stayed with someone who went to Andrews with me. So it literally felt like I was at home in that sense. And then, as I said, the school is so lively. Like they parties every day, fashion show every day, play going on every day. So in that sense, it felt like I wouldn't have to leave campus for entertainment really if I went to Wesleyan, I feel, which is important to me because don't want to live in the library. Right? And then with Wesleyan, I'd have to do a 3-2. So I could still end up going to Dartmouth. If I was to do that. And then Dartmouth is Dartmouth. I don't think I have to sell like the good things about Dartmouth because it's Dartmouth.
Okay. And for people who are thinking of engineering, because again, I'm just so shocked that you actually are thinking about this because you are very firmly, engineering straight. For people who are thinking, they want to do engineering, they're considering 3-2, or by 3-2, we mean doing 3 years at a liberal arts college and then finishing up and getting just a bachelor's. So that's an academic degree, and then doing 2 years at another school that can give you a professional degree, which is a bachelor's in engineering. All right. So for people who are considering 3-2 or just going straight and doing 4 years at a school like Dartmouth that can award you a professional degree in engineering, what are some of the things that they should consider?
I think one of the main advantages for 3-2 is definitely 2 alumni networks, because if I was to go to Wesleyan and then, for example, at Dartmouth after, that would be 2 alum networks. I'd end up with 2 degrees at the end of it. And I would have 2, I think, very different college experiences. Because as I mentioned, Wesleyan is a liberal arts school and Dartmouth is not. And so their approaches to education are definitely very different. So if that kind of exposure is something that you want, and if connections and meeting people is something that's important to you as well, I feel like a 3-2 might be good for you. If you're the kind of person who, you're not into, because you're going to have to move at the end of 3 years, and you're also going to have to leave your friends who you made for the past 3 years at Wesleyan, in my case, and then go to another school and kind of start over socially, I guess. Right. If you're not that kind of person who, you're very social and you like meeting people and, oh my God, you just like to make friends and all of that, but you like a structure and just starting and finishing and that's that, then definitely going straight might be best for you. Okay. I really think it's a personal decision. Yeah, depending on what you like. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll make the decision that is best for you. And I'm glad that you're actually going to see both campuses. All right, Lindsay. So drum roll. I have a final question for you. Sure. And that is, you're pretty driven. As I said, that's objectively very obvious from, even like one interaction with you. and you're going pretty hard at getting this engineering degree and continuing to do the things that you enjoy, like modeling, speaking, just going out. What is all of this geared towards? Like, what do you want? And I know you're young, but we've done all this soul searching together, so I trust that you're able to answer. What do you want your legacy to be, or your contribution to be to the world?
Okay. Wow, that's a very big question.
Yeah.
My end goal, or what I do see myself doing, is working with like some sort of like a relief construction team. So maybe like with an organization like the UN or Red Cross or the Salvation Army, that kind of just because I wanted engineering, so that kind of provides like infrastructural solutions in places with like very difficult terrain, or places that might not have access to certain like utilities like water, and just finding solutions for them. Like, that's what I see myself doing like professionally. Something definitely relief work geared though.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your tips with us, especially for fellow international students, because that journey is not easy, and I feel like it gets more competitive each year, but you've done super well with your admissions and with your funding packages, and I'm so happy for you. So thank you for coming and talking.
And thank you so much for helping me, because listen, guys, none of this would be possible without Shauna K. So big up you, because I would be going nowhere without you. So thank you so much too.
Thank you. No, you're welcome, Lindsay. And I'm looking forward to just seeing the bloom. All right. And if you want to hit up Lindsay, actually, because you have a pretty active Instagram profile. So
for sure.
To find you on Instagram. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
What is your handle?
Message me. Oh, so it's at Lindsay H_, and that's Lindsay with an A. So yeah, you feel sure to like, feel free rather to like DM me with any questions or anything. Yeah, I like help wherever I can.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Lindsay. And until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.